Hi everyone, my name is Eric Burdett, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about continuous integration and continuous deployment. This is a development practice very common in the industry, and some of you may find it useful in your projects. So first, continuous integration. Continuous integration is a development practice where developers regularly check in code to a central repository. This is often multiple times per day or even 10, 15, 20 times a day. But the point is that you're continuously checking in code. Now, with each check-in, that code is verified by an automated build. Often this means deploying the code to a build server and running all unit tests, integration tests, acceptance tests, anything really that you have to verify your code. Once the tests have run, the developers are sent feedback of the state of that code. This could say something like all tests passed successfully, or maybe one of your acceptance tests failed along the way. Either way, the developers get some sort of feedback about the code state. Now, continuous deployment really just builds upon continuous integration and says that if all tests pass on the build server, we want to automatically deploy to production. And so you can kind of see that illustrated here in this graphic that you have the developers create something, make some changes in the code, they commit it and push it to an online repository. That code is then sent to a build server of some kind, and all of the tests are run. If all of those tests pass successfully, then it's automatically deployed to production and then released to the general consumer. And so you can see that this happens continuously. It's this continuous loop that often happens multiple times a day where code is automatically deployed and released to production. So there's a number of benefits for implementing these practices. First, it improves productivity. Manual tests and deploys can be extremely time consuming, and this allows the developer to focus on creating new features instead of worrying about the logistics of deploys. Second, it's easier and quicker to discover bugs and to fix them. Since your check-ins are very frequent with less code and all check-ins are sent to the build server, it's easy to see which portion of the code caused a problem. It kind of employs the saying, fail often and fail quickly so that you can succeed sooner. Third, it allows developers to deliver updates to the end user much faster, which makes everybody happier in the end. So I wanted to show you a little bit of how we are implementing continuous integration and continuous deployment in our project. So we're using Heroku, which is basically a cloud service, but it's a layer that sits on top of Amazon Web Services. And it makes it really easy to deploy code and to stand up a web service quickly. And there's also a free tier, just like AWS, and it suits us pretty well for our purposes. So this is our repository right here, and I've created just a little branch here on GitHub just for our demo. And basically, I just made a really small change in our header on our main index file. It'll say hello CS499, whereas before it says welcome to the community. This is what it is right now. So it'll say hello CS499. So I'm going to create this pull request, and we can see actually what happens is we're using a build server, a service called Semaphore. And so whenever there's a pull request made or we push something to a branch, it automatically runs that code on Semaphore. And this is actually what it looks like. So we can see I pushed this branch EB SPED demo, and it passed on the build server. And then I got that update right here right in GitHub. So this is kind of nice. So when I make a pull request, I can see that there were no errors in the changes that I made. It passed all the tests, and we're ready to merge it. And so when I hit merge, what it does again is it runs all of those tests on Semaphore again to make sure everything checks out. And then it will be pushed to Heroku. So while this is kind of running and doing its build, I kind of want to show you a few of the services that are available with GitHub. So there's actually a bunch that you can connect to GitHub directly: Buddy, Google Cloud. There's Azure. There's a lot of services that you can hook directly into GitHub, and it's really, really fast and really simple to do. How it kind of works, I wanted to show you that for a second. It's called GitHub webhooks. And basically what happens is as soon as you make a change to master or you push something to your repository, it'll send requests to different websites, and that's kind of how it works here. Is we have a webhook sending requests to Semaphore and to Heroku when certain things happen, particularly when we push to the master branch. So when that happens, Heroku is notified, and as you can see here, there's a build in progress since we just merged into master. And as soon as that builds and deploys, we'll be able to see the change in our code. And let's see where we're at. It looks like the build passed here on Semaphore, and the build succeeded here. And normally it takes a little bit to see it here. Oh, and there it is. Hello, CS499. So this is really a really cool practice to implement for your projects. Really easy to deploy to production, and it's really simple. It's 100% automated. You have to worry about the logistics of deploying, and you can stick with just coding and implementing features for your project. So this is my video. Hopefully you learned something. Thanks for watching.